In English, we have a number of principal parts of the verb. And depending on who you talk to, there are either 3 or 4 principal parts. So we have the present, the past participle, and then some people include the present participle and some people don't. But to be comprehensive here, we have included it. So what we'll do is we'll fill out this chart and get a handle on how you can form the principal parts. And then after that, we'll talk briefly about why you should actually care and why all of this matters. So let's start with the present then. And the way to form this is to take I and add the base of the verb. And there's a simple way to get at the base of the verb. You take the infinitive, and the infinitive is always to plus whatever the verb is. So let's say to see. And then what you do is you get rid of the to bit, and what's left is the base. Looks a bit like a mathematical equation. So again, just take the infinitive, get rid of the to, and what's left is the base. And you can see then that for a regular verb, this would be something like I kick. To kick becomes I kick. The irregular verb would be, an example would be I swim. And you'll see in a moment why this one is irregular. It's going to change a whole lot more. Then we have the past part, and this is essentially the past tense if you add it to I. So I plus the past tense. And for a regular verb, all we do is we add ed. So I kicked. Very simple. Okay, so look out for that ed ending. And then the irregular verb, this is where you start to see the change. This one changes to I swam. All right. Then we have the past participle, and this is probably the hardest parts to kind of figure out, especially for irregular verbs. For regular verbs, it's not too difficult. You simply add the ed ending again. It's often exactly the same as the past tense. So this would be kicked, right? But for the irregular verb, it's often very different. And in this case, it's swim, swam, swum. How many of us would actually say swum? So there's a little trick for this to figure out which one it is. If you say I had or I have, and then dot, 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 and try to fill it in. So I had kicked. The other one that works is have. So I have kicked or I have swum, right? And then you can figure out which one you need. All right, so then the last one is the present participle. Unfortunately, this one is very easy to form. You need the base of the verb plus this ing ending. So the base plus the ing ending. And then you get kicking or swimming. And that's not too difficult. The last thing to talk about then is why all of this actually matters. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why you should care about the 4 principal parts of the verb. So the first one has to do with verbals. And there are 3 types of verbals. There are 3 types, and they are the infinitive, which we have just seen over here. And then we also have the present participle. And then lastly, we have the past participle. So the past participle. These are all verbals, and the key thing with verbals is that they cannot be the main verb unless they have a helping verb with them. Often, in fact, they're going to do very different things than what verbs do. And we'll talk about verbals in a separate video, different page on the website. But it's just good to be aware of the fact that verbals are formed often from these principal parts, right? We have 2 of them here, the past participle and then the present participle, and then also the infinitive gives us the base. So these verbals are really crucial in that they do a lot, and often they're not actually being the main verb, unless, again, they have a helping verb with them. So that's something to really watch out for. The second thing that I want to draw your attention to is how the tenses are formed in English. So we have 12 tenses. And if you know your principal parts, then you can form the 12 tenses. And I'll just give you a couple of examples here. Let's say you say, I am kicking. Right? What you can see there is that we've used the present participle, and we have added a helping verb. And this then becomes the present continuous, if you want to know the technical name. Here's another one. I have swum. Same kind of pattern. We have a past participle and we have a helping verb. And that's why we really need to know these 4 principal parts, because if we have the present, the past participle, and the present participle, we can form all 12 different tenses in English, as long as we're willing to add a few helping verbs here and there. So those are just a couple of reasons then why the principal parts matter, and hopefully the patterns are fairly clear to you now, and you can make sense of the different principal parts of the verb.